So, opening day starts tomorrow. The Reds are taking on the Cardinals. Baseball season's back. But we're going to look at a little quick preview of the 2014 season. What do you think the biggest key for the Reds is going to be in 2014?
We've talked about it all winter. The biggest key, and we're even seeing it now in spring training, is going to be the health of the rotation and the pitching staff in general. I mean, already there's no Chapman, no Marshall, no Broxton in the back end of the bullpen. Matt Latos is missing a start. If the Reds are going to finish where they ultimately want to finish this year, it's going to be on the back of their pitching as much as their offense is loaded this year.
Yeah.
What do you think about the biggest surprise this year that's coming up?
Well, I think the biggest surprise, obviously with all the injuries that have gone on in spring, that's kind of the big surprise. Fortunately, it seems like only Chapman is going to be the key player that's going to miss any kind of real time. It seems like everybody else just kind of dinged and nicked up here and there, but most guys are expected to come back soon. So I think the biggest surprise, I think that Devin Mesoraco is going to be a lot better than he has been, and the Reds are going to need him to be because I think that they've got a few holes in their lineup, 1 through 8, and getting that extra bat in there will be pretty big for the Reds offense. I think that Billy Hamilton's going to be a little bit better than a lot of the prognostications have said. He really struggled last year in AAA, but I think that he's made improvements. He made improvements in the second half of last season, but his first half was so rough on him. It didn't really show up at the end of the season overall. But he's looked pretty good this spring. He's drawing walks again, which I think is what held him back last season. He was a little aggressive at the plate, whereas the year before he wasn't, and his numbers were much better. So I think that somewhere between Billy Hamilton and Devin Mesoraco are going to be the biggest surprises of the season. I guess as far as compared to what people are expecting from them. What do you think the biggest surprises are going to be?
Yeah, we talked about Hamilton. The other day I'd written how Hamilton might possibly be in contention at the end of the year for a batting title. While that might be a little bit over the top, he's not prone to slumps in the way that a lot of other hitters are. Your prototypical guys that you think are going to be in contention for a batting title. If Hamilton can utilize the bunt and utilize it well the way Drew Stubbs never did, the way Willie Tavares never did, you're going to see Hamilton possibly hitting near 300 this year. Hitting 300. His on-base percentage might even be 350, 360. And if that happens, the sky's the limit for the Reds this year. And I really think the surprise either way is going to be how well or how poorly Billy Hamilton plays.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm not quite as high on his batting average as you are, but I think that that's still kind of within an expectation because like I said, his plate discipline has improved this spring, and if he can carry that forward, with his speed and his improved bunting and even more frequent bunting than he's done in the past, I think that there could be a chance for that.
How many bases do you think he steals this year? Give me a number.
If I were setting the over/under, I'd set it at 80. I think that there's just such a wide variety of where he could be between he could really struggle and perhaps lose playing time, or as you said, he could really catch fire and play really well. So I think that that's a good range to kind of set the over/under at because I just don't know how often he's going to get on base at this point. It's so tough to really peg.
Sure.
What about you? What do you think?
In an ideal world, I think he steals 100 at least. And if he steals 100, the article I'd written the other day about him, if he steals 100, by de facto, he's an MVP candidate. It doesn't matter if he hits 235. It might be hard to steal 100 bases if you hit 235. But if he steals 100 bases, he's an MVP candidate. People don't want to hear it, but the speed like that doesn't come along. People don't steal 100 bases anymore. It's not the 1980s. But you're exactly right. He could hit a funk. He could be hitting 190 in June, and he has like 25 steals. And we're all going, this was a terrible idea. Now we have to play Skip Schumacher every day. But then again, that's what happens when you didn't sign Grady Sizemore. So you got what you asked for.
How do you see the 2014 season playing out?
Jeez, I think it's important that the Reds win the division this year because the Cardinals are a stacked team. You do not want to have to face the Cardinals in a short series, and I feel the same way about the Dodgers. If the Reds can find a way to win the division, they'll avoid the Dodgers in the first round. It's been said the Reds' window of contention is closing because it really is. They're running out. There's maybe a 2-3 year block left where they'll have control of everyone. So hopefully I see them winning the division, although it's a stretch, but at the very least they'll make the playoffs. They'll make the wild card game again. What about you? Where do you see them going?
I really don't think that they're going to win the division. The Cardinals are really good, and with the way that the Reds' injuries have plagued them this spring, while it's a 162 game season, their April schedule is very tough. They've got a lot of games against the Cardinals and the Pirates, and then they've also got to go play the Tampa Bay Rays, which they might be the best team in the American League. So I think that getting through April, if they're anywhere near 500, they've done really well. And with all the injuries, I really don't even expect that. I think that that's just going to set them behind. I think they're anywhere from 85 to 90 win team, but I just don't think that that's going to be enough to win the division. It may be enough to compete for the wild card. I guess it just kind of depends on how the NL East plays out, and then how the Dodgers and Giants play out in the West. I think that they'll compete, but I think the division it's out of the question unless everything goes perfectly for the Reds and the Cardinals hit a stumbling block. They're just stacked. They're very deep, and the Reds just I just don't see them winning 95 games like I could see the Cardinals winning this season.
Yeah, and you're right. I would agree with that. I was going to say, so do you like their chances? You like them you like the Reds over the Giants, over the Braves for the wild card spot?
I mean, I haven't really looked too deeply at either of those teams. I know that they're both going to be good this year. I think that it's going to be one of those situations where whoever has something go a little bit right for them between those three teams is probably going to get the first wild card spot in the home game. But I think that one of those teams is going to be looking on the outside in, and that could be the Reds. If they're going to fall into that 85 to 90 win range.
Sure. All right, so we were talking about it earlier. Who's your Reds MVP for this season?
Yeah.
You had to pick
It's
one
hard
guy.
for me to pick against Joey Votto. He's the team's best player. I know that sports writers don't always go with the best player as the most valuable player, which still I can't understand how it's possible to be more valuable than somebody who's the best. That just doesn't make any logical sense, but they've been doing it for 100 years now. For me, I vote for Joey Votto based on what I think everyone's going to do during the season. But that's just me. What's your take?
Just to say something different, I guess. I'm going to say Johnny Cueto, because although he may not be the best player, he might be, like you said, the most valuable player. Because if you can get 30 starts out of Cueto, 200 innings, an ERA under 3, I think you know what you're going to get from everybody else. In a realm, except maybe Tony Cingrani, you know what you're going to get from everybody else. Cueto, they have not had a full season of health. If you get a full season of health from Cueto, I mean, he's proven himself to be one of the top pitchers in the league. You just can't stay healthy. But if Cueto's healthy the whole year, I mean, you have to say you like the Reds' chances a lot better in the National League, especially in a short series.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think if Johnny Cueto can go out and throw 200-plus innings and be Johnny Cueto, that he could compete for the MVP in my mind. He's only done that once in his career, though, so I'm a little more skeptical that he can do it, but I hope he doesn't, and if he does, you're right. I think that he could be the team MVP also.
Sure. All right, so thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Stick here on Blog Red Machine. I mean, tomorrow is opening day. We will have your write-up for you, and Doug's going to be doing the pregame pitching matchups every day. I'll be doing your postgame wrap-up. I'll try to keep it interesting. You guys have any comments, any questions, find us on Twitter, find us on the website, find us on Facebook. If you're not following us on Facebook, you're doing something wrong. Follow us on Facebook. You have to be following us on Facebook. All right, thank you, everybody. Stay tuned. Happy opening day.